Adam, can you maybe tell me a bit more about who Adam Green is and just have a small introduction?
My name is Adam Green. I am an enthusiast of physical activity. I love training. I am a community manager at Brotherhood. Myself and my best mate Guy have built up and created this thing called Brotherhood. It's a community for the conscious man. So we train together, work together, we network, we meditate, breathe, all the good things. Just a good community for guys to join, looking to improve their life, to get the most from themselves and be better for society.
We just did the small 10K run to get here.
Yep.
I wanted to come back to the thing I told you while we were running. You are the reason why I have done a 100-kilometer run.
Epic.
And I just wanted to thank you for that, because it wasn't even on my spectrum of thinking.
Yep.
I don't know if you remember this, but you came to the property one day where I work.
Yep.
You said something that was even before I've ever ran a full marathon. It was just when I wanted to.
Yep.
And you said, if you can run 10K, you can run 100.
Yep.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, yep. Good thing I've said that, because you did it and that was awesome. I've said that to a fair few people and they kind of play it off, but you just took it and you're like, oh, okay, then I'll go do it. So that's epic that you actually listened and did it, because it's true. If you can do 10K, you have the capacity to train for 100K and do 100K. Or for yourself, you didn't train for it, you just did it. You trained a little bit.
Trained a little bit. Yeah, I did some longer runs. But
yep.
Like the impressive running you do for your training, that's a whole other level.
I am just scratching the surface with running. When it comes to actually like the running community, I'm like down here when people are just so far up. What I'm doing, trying to like keep up with them, is hectic. Once you dive into it, there's just like a huge cult following, and there's so much to it, so much learning. Like the 3 ultras I did, I had like the first one, I had no idea. I just lucked out that I didn't have anything go that bad. The second one, completely ignorant to like any kind of plan, any structure, any training. And that one definitely kicked my ass. The third one had more experience now. I've done 2. I made a lot of mistakes and learned from them. I did some better training, a bit more decent training, not as consistent though, but still decent. I finished it feeling great. Each time I do it, I learn from it. That's why I think the biggest thing for people to do is just to go out and start doing stuff. The way you're going to learn is just going out and doing. So that's why I'm glad you went out and did it, because you're going to learn a lot from that.
I did learn a lot from it. Like, can you tell me about the time where you made that decision of like, oh, ultra running is something I would love to?
It was literally the same as like when I had a conversation with you. I was out training with the boys, Brotherhood boys on the beach, and a mate of mine just told me about, because we were running, and I'm like, oh, you're pretty good at running. And he's like, yeah, I used to be really into it. I did a 100-kilometer race in the Blue Mountains once, and I was like, what the 100-kilometer race? I'd never heard that before. I was like, I want to do that. He kind of brought the idea to me. Another great thing was Meg Sutherland created the Mega Run on Gold Coast. You heard of the Mega Run, you know that?
Yeah.
Every Sunday they go and like you run either 5, 10Ks or do whatever you can do. That was a big hype when it first launched. Some of the boys and I went to that, and I hadn't ran. Like, I don't think I'd remember running for years and years. I like done 1 or 2 runs over the last 5 years, something like that. And we went and ran 10Ks. Obviously, I'd been doing lots of other training that benefited like running. I wasn't necessarily running, but I was doing all other things that helped me be a better runner. And I ran 10Ks and felt really happy about it. And I was like, this is really fun. Like, I used to hate running. Now I've done all this other training and accidentally made myself, decent at running. When I did that, a mate had said to me, like, oh, do you want to do a half marathon with me? I think that was before I'd even run the 10Ks. I just said yes and signed up for it. And it was months later, and I forgot about it. And I ran the 10K, and then kind of didn't run again for a bit. But I had this half marathon coming up, and I went and did 5Ks and just felt horrible. It was like at the end of a 3-day fast, and I was like, man, this feels bad, but I've got to go do this half marathon this weekend. I went and did the half marathon and came 3rd, and I was like, oh, like, it wasn't a real competitive race. It was like a charity race out in Coomera. The guy who won it was this ex-Olympian. He smashed it. The guy in front of me was this old dude, just totally nonchalant, just like punched out 21Ks easy. I came 3rd just behind him. I was like, okay, that was fun. What's this 100-kilometer thing all about? I'm going to sign up for one. And my mate Don messaged me and said, here's a 100-kilometer race, let's do it. Yeah, I signed up and just started training for it. When I finally did run that first 100, I hadn't run more than 30Ks. I'd done a couple of 10Ks, a couple of half marathons, and then like a 30K race. Not race, just a 30K run on road. And then I went and did the ultra. I hadn't run more than 30K, so every step past 30 was just a PB.
And that was all running up to the 100K.
Yeah, well, yeah, I did 10Ks, did the half marathon, did another 20K a few months after the half marathon, or a few weeks after the half marathon, then did a 30K the week after, and then every week kind of did about just one 15 to 20K trail run. I didn't really train much, and then Cozzy rolled around, and I checked my Strava the other day. Actually, leading up to Cozzy, barely trained at all in the last few weeks. I'd done a fair few trail runs with Martin when he was getting ready for Kokoda. I was kind of just going out by myself every now and then. Cozzy rolled around, and I just luckily just was able to grit my teeth and get through it. Didn't pull up with any injuries or anything. Had a few cramps, but super helpful community. Awesome community in the trail running area where people would just stop and give me salt tablets because I had no idea about salt tablets. I had no idea about anything. I didn't know what kilometer I was on. I didn't know how far the next checkpoint was. I didn't know when to grab water. I just ran. If I ran out of water, I'd wait till I could get some more water. I'd fill up all my water every time, so I was always full of water, like carrying heaps of water, even if the next checkpoint was only 5Ks away.
Very heavy then.
Yeah. I just grab heaps of snacks on the thing, put heaps of lollies in my pockets. I was super happy though, super optimistic because it was so exciting. Ran the whole thing by myself pretty much, had people run with me for a bit, but eventually I was just by myself for ages, and it was super cool just to go within. Yeah. And feel all the things I was going through, had a little cry, listened to heaps of music, pushed on, finished the run, and felt spectacular. Felt physically fucked, but felt great.
Mentally?
Yeah, mentally spectacular.
What do you think of your first run? What was your favorite thing of doing that ultra marathon?
The first ultra marathon, it was just a major adventure. Out in the mountains, I freaking love Lord of the Rings. I don't think I've ever done a podcast without mentioning that. I love Lord of the Rings. Going out there, Kosciuszko's beautiful scenery. It's just big mountains. There was snow. We had snow, we were snowed on. There was heaps of snow everywhere. And we were running through snow, and then we're running through the forest, and we're running up and down the mountains. Beautiful scenery. I just had tunes on in my ears. I think the highlight of that first run was being alone in my mind for 16 hours, just experiencing every up and down, fully, this really hurts, this is really fun, this is really sad, I'm really happy, I'm really proud, feeling all those different emotions within the compact space of just one day. Having all that go through you in one day was just a really eye-opening experience, for sure.
And with all of these emotions that you go through, did you have to deal with them in a certain way to get through them, or what was your process there?
I think a big one was just one step in front of the other, just continuously running or walking, knowing that there was just no chance I was going to quit. There's no possible scenario where I would quit. It's non-negotiable. Just letting the emotions come through me and do whatever they want and leave, and still just running and still walking, moving forward, no matter how bad I felt, no matter how good I felt, no matter how sad I was, no matter how reflective things were. That was all going on internally, but externally it was just keep going forward. That's the thing that really, a big lesson there is, no matter what's going on in the head, you just have work to do, you just continue to do it, regardless of how you feel.
I really like that. Did you have that why come up a lot? That's something I had.
Why you're doing it?
So much while
What was
running.
your why?
Actually, I found out that it's hard to answer that question all the time.
Yep.
But I found that if I say shh, I just my mind so often when I was making negative thoughts, being oh, why are you doing this? This is not, you still have 50 to go.
Yep.
I said shh.
Yeah.
There's one checkpoint next.
Yeah.
We're running towards it. That's it.
That's it.
What was it for you?
The why? Curiosity is a big thing. I just want to know what it feels like to run 100 kilometers. I want to know if I can do it. I want to know how it's going to feel. Curiosity is really big. So my why is often curiosity. Another one is I have documented this, written this down, and talked about it a lot. One of my big purpose, my big why, is to lead men to their higher selves by embodying my core values. My core values being love, discipline, and integrity. If I can embody those, lead by example, pretty much, just the fanciest way of saying lead by example. If I can go and do these crazy feats, these crazy adventures, it's going to inspire someone else to go do it. Inspire yourself to go do it. Someone inspired me to go do it. And it's just this carry-on effect. If we continue to do these awesome things, and if we can change 1, 2, 3, 5, 100 people's lives to live a happier, healthier, more exciting life, then the world is eventually going to shift to everyone just being super fulfilled and happy and excited. So if we just continue doing this and affecting one person at a time, it's just going to spread.
Oh, that's amazing. Is that what you feel you're doing with Brotherhood a lot as well?
Yeah, for sure. It's always hard to, you always have to stop and reflect on the day-to-day stuff, like when you're doing the little menial tasks and all the small things you have to do and all the big jobs you have to do. You have to reflect on how many lives you've changed. Like when we do Brotherhood, we've had so many people come to us and say, this has changed my life. And it's hard to take that in. It's really hard to receive that. And it's hard to like stop and think like, wow, like this stuff that Guy and I and all the fellas that are involved have created, it's like actually changing people's lives. People are living happier, they're doing the things they want to do, they're quitting the jobs they don't want to do, they're becoming the men they want to become because every day we go to work and do what we have to do. And that's crazy to think, and it's really hard to receive when someone says that to you. A lot of times when it's hard and like you don't want to do it, that's when you kind of have to pull that out, reflect on that and think, well, this is changing someone's life. So it's not about me, it's not about how hard it is for me right now, it's about the community.
Would you say it's the bigger picture you're creating then, and that's the perspective shift? It's like zooming out on the planet. It's not that big.
Yep.
We can do this. It's for everyone.
Yep. And we, like 100%, if we zoom out, the planet's not that big. You know, there's a couple billion people. We had this conversation before. I've met Drake. Drake's met one other person. I'm one person away from maybe Joe Rogan. You're one person away from Drake. You know, you're a couple of people away from someone on the other side of the world. So the world's not that big. If everyone does a few good things every day and inspires someone else to do a few good things every day, the world will be engulfed in those good deeds. Just doing those small things every single day, even though it seems like maybe no one's watching, no one's seeing, you're seeing, and some people around you are seeing, it's just going to have that ripple effect. Zooming out and realizing like the things you do are bigger than just yourself, but all you can do is the best you can do, and it will affect the world.
And just keep on going, right?
Just keep doing it.
Doing the thing you can do today.
Yeah, just consistently working.
I really like you said love, integrity, and discipline.
Yeah.
How'd you come on those?
Well, I remember doing one of those values tests where like they just keep popping up, what values this, and you just keep clicking the things that resonate the most with you. And they were the 3 that I got, and they're important to me. I think love is everything. The love of your work, the love of the people around you, the love of yourself. Love is the fuel for everything. If you have no love, if you're not driven by love, you won't end up in a place you want to be. If you're driven by greed, if you're driven by hate, if you're driven by lust, you'll end up in places you don't want to be. But if you're driven by love, no matter what you do, eventually you'll get to the place you need to be at in a good way. Mm-hmm. And discipline, I think, is one of the highest forms of self-love. Discipline is doing the thing you don't really want to do potentially at the moment, depending on how you feel. You don't want to do it, but long term you'll benefit from it. Those around you will benefit from it. I think doing things that are hard that you don't want to do consistently makes the rest of life easier too. If you're always disciplined doing the things that are really hard in the day-to-day, life becomes a lot more relaxed and I feel more free to spread love because I've taken care of my own shit. You know, I've been disciplined, I've done what I need to do, and I feel fulfilled and I can go spread that love. I think discipline's a huge love amplifier for yourself and those around you. And then integrity is big because you need to be honest and you need to be truthful and you need to do the things you say you're going to do. You need to be integral to your word. If you have values, you need to be integral to them. If you say certain boundaries are your boundaries, you need to be integral to them, or else, you know, the world will just walk all over you and you'll allow it. So you need to be integral to all the things you say. You need to do the things you say. And obviously you can't do that forever. Like there'll be times where you go against that and you'll feel bad for that and you'll learn from that. But integrity is big.
And is that how you build character?
How to build character is, I think they all play a role in building character, but I think the biggest way to build character is to go and try and do things, go out and make mistakes, have lessons learned, win, lose, all that. Character comes from experience of living. You know, someone who has just done nothing, they sit in their room, they read. If you go and sit in your room and read 1 million books, you might have all these facts learnt and memorized, but you haven't, not learned, you've memorized them, but you haven't learnt them because you haven't experienced it. So character comes from doing things.
And is it your own character that's the important part? That's that authenticity that you want to create for yourself then?
Yeah, you got to be true to yourself. You might have experienced this. It's a lot on the Gold Coast where a lot of people are trying to improve themselves. A lot of people are coaching people to do stuff, and you can't just learn from someone and regurgitate what they've said. As I said, you've got to go put it into practice and learn yourself, the nuances and the tips and tricks and skills, all that. You need to hear what someone else is saying, have critical thinking, break it down, digest it how you need it, and then implement how you need it, because we're all different beings. We all have similar problems. We're all different beings. We all hear things differently and, learn differently. So you need to have your own way of living, or else you'll just kind of live your whole life not really feeling honest.
Not really living life like the person you always wanted to be and know who you are.
Yep.
With that in mind, coming back to you running ultra marathons, from all of these things that you just said, like what are, over the period of the 3 marathons you've done, what is the biggest thing you've learned so far?
The biggest, best lesson is you can't avoid the work. Like, you have to do the work. The work and the due diligence, you have to give respect to the hard tasks. You can't go in half-assed. If you go into something ill-prepared, understand you may be able to get it done, but you'll face consequences. It'll suck. If you do the hard work, if you do enough of a certain thing over a long period of time, you'll get better at it. There's no avoiding the work. The work needs to be done. You can either be consistent and suffer a little bit in training over a long period of time, or be inconsistent and suffer a lot on a race.
Wow.
Yeah.
Would you say the real discipline is created with the training, and the action of just running the marathon is the test of showing up and you already are prepared and now you're just needing to finish it, but the real work is already done by putting in the hours?
Exactly. You show up to a marathon, obviously it's going to be hard. It's going to be like a grueling task. It's a long race, but it's only one day and it'll be done. Like, it's only one day of hard work and it'll be done. It's the fun part. You have all the people around you, you have all the support crew, you got the bells and whistles, you get your medal at the end. It's all the fun part. In the training, the weeks and months leading up to it, when no one's around, no one cares, they don't see all the stuff you're doing. They might see it if you're posting it, but again, they don't really feel it. It's all the hard stuff builds up. That's where the character's built. That's where the skills are built, the strength's built. That's where all the hard work has gone into. On the day, you can just go in there and have a good time, enjoy all that stuff you've done. Because the night before a marathon, people are like stressing, thinking, I need this, I need that, and that's totally normal. But you can't really change that point now. Like, everything's done, all the work's done. You just need to go out and do it now. You just need to execute, and that's the fun part. Like, that's the part that's just the glamorous thing. The training is the part where it really matters.
Do you feel like you can enjoy running the marathon more when you've done all the training and you've done everything you could have done?
Well, yeah, 100%, because the last time I ran UTA, when I didn't do much at all, I didn't train much, I didn't prepare, I didn't give it the respect it deserves, it really hurt. It really sucked. I had a really bad time. Like, overall, I just didn't enjoy that race. There was parts, obviously, and there's good memories, heaps of awesome memories. Looking back at it, I'm like, yeah, I'm so glad I did it. I learned a lot. But there was so many times where I was just like numb and I was blacked out and I couldn't think of anything. I wasn't happy nor sad. And I just fully cut off all emotions just to get it done. When I did finish, there wasn't like this nice feeling of, oh, it's done. Like, I'm glad I did it. I'm happy, I'm proud. It was like, I was really upset with myself. I couldn't, everyone was trying to celebrate for me and I couldn't feel that and receive that. They were all saying, good job, awesome stuff. And I was just sitting there, like, literally felt depressed for like 2 weeks. I went and saw my kinesiologist after. We did a bit of work. Adam Stamp, awesome dude, did a bit of work to get out of that rut. But when I didn't give it the respect it deserved, it really punished me and I didn't have a good time. But then the race, like the last one, Kosciuszko, I didn't train as good. You can always train like better. I didn't train as good as I could have, but I did give it good training. I did give it a lot of time and effort to prepare and to plan. I gave it the respect it deserved, and I finished that race feeling great, and I had a great time the whole race. Obviously, there's times where it hurt, but I was just so happy the whole time. I was ecstatic the whole time. I freaking loved that race.
Do you think cause and effect has a big role to play in the feeling you have after you've done an ultramarathon, especially the first one you did?
What do you mean by that?
What I experienced is I forgot that I run 100K, but I still felt shitty for like 2 weeks and I didn't do the dishes. I'm very like disciplined in trying to do the things that are mandatory that day, and then I don't do it, and the next day I don't do it.
Yeah.
And then I think of myself, oh, I should have done this. But I don't think like, oh, I've ran 100K and now I'm super tired and I have to like take care of myself so that I can do these things again.
Yeah.
Like the cause is running, and then the effect is that I have to recover for a while. Did you have that as well?
The first one, I think I recovered pretty great. I ran a normal marathon 2 weeks after that one, for my birthday, and I felt fine. I think I came back from that. I was just a bit sore for a few days. I gave myself a bit of rest, but I didn't want to give myself too much rest where like all right, you can do something now. I was in the gym training up my body for like the day after. You got to be smart. If you've just done a really big thing, your body's taxed, your central nervous system's taxed, everything's taxed, and you got to recuperate, you got to rest, you got to eat, you got to look after yourself, because it's a long-term game. It's health. If you smash yourself, and I've made so many mistakes in this area, like running a marathon 2 weeks after, running a half marathon a week after the UTA run. I should have been resting. Like I did some damage there potentially, but you got to be smart. Thing isn't like about getting as much as you can done right now in your youth. It's about being able to train for the rest of your life. If you do something, give it the respect it deserves, build out to it, and then give yourself the respect you deserve like afterwards to rest.
If you look at everything you've done now, in what way do you think you are going to be able to do all of these type of physical things in the future? Do you think that's going to evolve?
I think my training is always evolving, and right now there's been a huge push on longevity, recovery, mobility, flexibility, movement in general that's healthier. I've learned big lessons in the last even the last few weeks, the last few months, the last year or so, that I have a long time left in this body, and I can't be like punishing it constantly all the time to a point where I won't be able to come back from. Your body can do a lot, but you need to be smart. I've started incorporating stretching because every part of my body is just jacked up and really tight and tense. The massage therapists I've gone to see, they're just trying to like drill into me, and it's just so painful because I've spent years not massaging the muscles, not stretching, not doing any kind of mobility, to the point where now like I lack mobility in certain areas that I wish I didn't. It's going to take me time. Like in jiu-jitsu, I'm going to be real stiff when I get back into that. I'll need to stretch out, I need to foam roll, I need to just take care of myself and balance the yin with the yang, because you can't be all go all the time. You need to have balance, or else you just hit a wall eventually and things start to break in very bad ways.
The balance you've found now is really getting the massage, the stretch, when your body is telling you you have to rest a bit. Because you've been training every day for the last 70...
I think this is day 77.
77 days. Can you tell a bit more and how you've incorporated this sort of future training?
Yep. Well, I do believe we can do some kind of movement every single day. I don't believe it needs to be 100% hardcore training every single day. The first few weeks of this train every day thing, I don't know how it came about and the why has kind of developed over time. I do have a bit of an understanding that in my mind why I started doing this was I wanted to prove to myself that I had a bit of a up and down feelings with training last year. I was kind of just spinning the wheels, not really enjoying it, not really like focusing on it. This train every day thing, I'm just building the muscle of being able to do it regardless of how I feel. I need to do it. It's like non-negotiable. I have to do it. Some days I will feel spectacular and I'll jump into the gym and want to smash it. Some days I'll feel terrible and I'll have a hard time just operating that day. Obviously now I've learned to balance that out. When I start to feel my training isn't going up or isn't progressing, I'll take a day or two and just focus on mobility training, focus on light movement, stretching, yoga. When I am feeling good, I'll capitalize on that, but I won't push it too far. You know, when you feel really great and then you push it and then you feel super confident, you push it a bit too far, which affects the rest of the week. Trying to keep it really structured so that even if I'm feeling great, this is what I need to run today. I don't need to do more. I don't need to do faster. I just need to do this because this is part of the plan where I'll progress, and next week I'll do a little bit more. But the days where I'm feeling really beat up, listening and like asking myself too, am I feeling really beat up that I shouldn't train, or is this just the mind trying to trick me out of training? If I can wholeheartedly say, look, I need to take a rest today, I'll take a rest. I'll do yoga, I'll do flexibility, I'll just do cycling. But if I'm thinking, all right, you just don't want to run today, you're just trying to talk yourself out of it, just put the shoes on and just start. When you start, even if you say like, okay, I don't want to run, but I'll do 5, 8, 10 Ks. Once you start, you tend to warm up and you feel okay with it. And then you can hit your goal of whatever you're supposed to be running. You have to develop a really good relationship with yourself to be able to train like this, because people get so excited and don't have an actual understanding of their body. They'll start training in the early days, they'll be motivated, and they'll push it real hard, and then it'll start to get hard, and they'll be like, oh, I've gone too hard, I've just burnt myself out, I can't train. And then they'll just stop, where I want to have this gradual, slow, big progression over time, like this slow, long progression. So I need to be smart with it, and I need to listen to the body, not let it trick me out of training, but not let the ego trick me into training. You know what I mean?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
And that conversation you have with that inner voice, that's like a daily occurrence, right?
Every day. To be honest, in my mind, I am the laziest person ever. In my mind, I'm so lazy. And every single day, I'm like, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. Like, I have to do it though, so it's non-negotiable. Like, as much as I don't want to do it, I just do it. There's so many things that people like online, they'll see me do, and they're probably thinking, this guy just freaking froths it, he just loves it. But so many days where I don't want to do anything. So many days where I don't want to get up early, I don't want to get out of bed, I don't want to run, I don't want to go do work, I don't want to work out. There's so many days where I'm just like, fuck, I just want to sit on a beach and sip margaritas or something. But I couldn't allow myself to do that, because I know that with this consistent effort, with all this work here, eventually big things come from it. We were just reflecting on brotherhood the other day, where we just, for 3 years, we just showed up every single day. We coached sessions, we were out in the rain, we were in the garage, we were on the beach, we were in the calisthenics park. For 3 years, we just showed up, regardless of how many people showed up, regardless of the weather, regardless of anything, of how we're feeling, we just showed up. And now we have a physical, like a beautiful space, a beautiful gym, a beautiful recovery center, a beautiful office, and 100 and something fellas that are members to this thing, because we just, regardless of how we felt, we just showed up and did the work. I know that these small daily sacrifices eventually lead to amazing results.
Have you ever felt that even though you feel like you don't want to do it, the feeling you have that is uncomfortable in that daily experience is less uncomfortable than not doing anything and knowing you could have done more?
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. If I go against what I said I was going to do, I'll feel terrible. And if I do what I said I was going to do, I might not feel like ecstatic over the moon. I'll feel good though.
Feel better.
Yeah.
Better than...
Yeah, not doing it. I can't just, it's just not negotiable. It's like breathing to me. Things have to get done. As much as I don't want to do them, you just have to do them. I'm not sure how to explain that in words or feelings, but there's certain things where I just can't not do something. No matter how anything happens, no matter what happens, no matter how I feel, there's certain things that just have to get done. And having that, I guess, that drive, that burning desire will help me run through walls. It helps me get a lot of stuff done.
Would you say you're training your mind to instead focus on solutions instead of making up excuses? Because when you feel tired and your body says you need rest, you're not thinking of an excuse, okay, not training today, but you make up solutions for it, like stretching, doing things to recover, doing alternatives.
Always problem solving, always looking for solutions, always looking to, if I can't do one thing, what's the next thing I can do, you know? If you can't do this, what's the regression to that? If I can't run right now, I can cycle. If I can't cycle right now, I can hike, I can walk, I can swim. Doing nothing is never a good option. Or sometimes doing nothing is the right option. But you have to be able to justify that.
And look from the bigger picture, right?
Yeah.
See it from afar and see what can be done.
I think a lot of people use that like the rest day, the doing nothing, a bit too often. Because doing this train every day thing, there's been so many times where I'm like, this is good, I want to quit. Then I think if I don't want to train that day, I can do yoga, I can stretch for half an hour. And I'm still training the body. That's still in my mind like justifiable for movement. So why would I quit when I could just spend 30 minutes stretching and foam rolling and doing yoga poses, continue this movement. Doing nothing would be worse.
You keep the momentum going. It's like when you have the momentum, you just keep on going, go down the hill, and then you make it work.
Yep. I don't know if I see it as much in people, but generally they don't have that just got to make it work attitude. Like, we just got to get it done regardless. They have the attitude of accepting defeat too quickly, where if you are hell-bent on getting something done, or hell-bent on doing it, there's no negotiating around it, you'll find a way. If you are so driven, you'll find a way to do it. You won't find reasons not to do it. You'll find every reason to do it. Every excuse might come up and you'll push it away and say, no, like, we're doing it regardless. And that's how I'm starting to feel now with these things, that no matter what it is, like, there's been times where it's 9 o'clock at night and I'm exhausted, but I'll roll out the yoga mat and I'll start doing half an hour of movement, and I'll film it and I'll upload it at 9:30, 10 o'clock when I should have been in bed an hour ago, but I just have to do it. There's just no questions asked.
The thing you just said really reminds me of when I was reading the book of Steve Jobs, his management style, and how the people that worked for him always come to him and say, like, this is not possible. These deadlines, these goals, it's not possible.
Yep.
And he has that mindset of it is.
Yep.
And by being so strong in your own beliefs, it sort of creates the opportunity for it to be a result in the future.
Yep.
And sort of other people see that, and then it just becomes reality.
Yep.
Isn't that amazing?
It's crazy. I feel like there's two people in my life that really helped me with this. And one of them was earlier days, one of my bosses, Simon Beard, excellent leader, excellent at motivating people, excellent at teaching his staff. He introduced me like self-development, introduced me to so many different areas. That job when I was working in retail introduced me to the idea of really honing in on getting good at something and seeing the results. And one of the things that they would say at that job is a task expands the time you allow it. So if you tell yourself you've got 4 hours to do this job, it'll take you the full 4 hours. Same job, you say you have 1 hour, you'll get it done in 1 hour. You just got to give yourself like a timeline and like, we are getting it done in this time, and you'll get it done. But if you say like the same job and you say like, I'll do it at some point today, it's going to take the whole day to do it. And then another person is Guy, my business partner. He has just said some insane things where I'm like, that's not possible. We can't do that. Like, I'm thinking like, how is this going to happen? But I trust him. I've seen it enough times, like, we're going to do it though. I might say it's not possible. We're going to do it. And we've done it. We've achieved the things that we thought would just be ludicrous, would be insane, that no one really pictured us being able to do, but we've just done it, which is cool.
I really like that saying of building undeniable proof of your ability to do anything.
Is that Hormozy? Who's that?
That's Hormozy.
Yes, I love that. Yep, that's a big thing. That's a huge thing. I think about that a lot, actually. I always say competence builds confidence. If you get competent in areas, you will be confident. If I came to you to talk about jiu-jitsu, you'd be confident in talking about it with me. But if I came to you to talk about fixing, my car's engine, you probably wouldn't have an idea of what you're talking about. But you can see people when they're in an area of their expertise, they get so confident. They might be so shy in other areas and social settings and other areas. When you come to them about the thing they know about, they're so confident. That's why I think you should get a pretty good understanding of a lot of areas, get pretty competent at a lot of things, and that'll all just mold together to you just naturally become very confident because you have so many competencies under your belt.
I found the same with talking with people. Everyone is interesting. You just have to find the thing that they know a lot about or that they're excited to talk about.
Yep.
Then you see that sparkle in their eyes and they just light up.
Yep.
It's like, oh, I know this, oh. Yep. And then they keep talking. And it's just this easy conversation. And it's interesting too. I am learning.
Yeah, yep. When I said jiu-jitsu, you were just like, yep, you were hyped up.
Did you see it?
Yep. It's a good example.
I felt it.
100%.
It just goes in a little bit. I wrote down this quote that I want to ask your opinion. The greater the difficulty, the more glory in surmounting it. Skillful pilots gain their reputation from storms and tempests.
100%. I think that reminds me of a sailor didn't learn his skills in the harbor or something. The one it's
I like that.
a stormy sea makes for a skilled sailor. Learning in the deep end has always been a massive thing, like just jumping in and doing. That's what I said at the start of this thing. Just doing stuff is where you'll gain the most confidence, the most character, the most lessons. You can't, as much as you want to read about it, watch videos about it, talk about it, nothing's gonna perform better for you than just doing it, doing the work. Nothing will beat just doing the work. That's how you're going to learn the most. And I think going through adversity, trials and tribulations and challenges, that is where you learn the most about yourself, about those around you, about the world. A huge thing that we look for, like I was having a conversation with a friend the other day that he found himself in a bit of a pickle with this other person, couldn't handle themselves in a stressful situation. For him, it was just a huge red flag. It was like, how are you so freaked out in a situation like this? What happens if it's a real bad situation? I love to see the character of guys at Brotherhood when the workouts are hard, when the workouts are tough, when they're really struggling, and I hit them with some, as a coach, I'll pull out some weird one-liners, I'll pull out some weird questions just to see how they're reacting. And the guys that just come back at me with relentless optimism, just living the dream kind of attitude, they're always the toughest. The ones that are just don't reply, they just grunt, they're just don't even let, they're just they're the ones. How are you going to handle a hard situation when you're in a bit of a controlled environment, you're in a safe environment that's a little bit too tricky, and you can't string together a simple response kind of thing? If you're so flustered in these kind of things where you are just struggling to reply, what's going to happen when it's a real hard situation? I always say you need to throw yourself into voluntary suffering, voluntary stress, and life does decide to give you involuntary suffering and stress. You've been there. You've walked that path. You know what it feels like. You can take a big, deep breath and say, all right, I'm ready to do it. Let's go.
Let's take on the world.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in, I have the person that I want to become. I know that person has to go through these type of things to gain these type of skills. Now, okay, those things I have to go through to become that person.
Yeah.
Have you had any type of that experience in your life?
Yeah, on the daily, I think that's learning and that's growing. There's the obvious ones where I wanted to be an ultra marathon runner, so I had to go run an ultra marathon. There's the simple ones like I want to be a better worker for the business. I want to be more productive. I need to learn how to use Microsoft Excel. I didn't like computers. I had to learn spreadsheets. I didn't like sitting down in front of a screen and doing stuff. I had to learn how to sit there and create content. I had to sit there and create training programs. I didn't like sitting in front of a desk and a computer, but the person I want to be is good at this stuff, so I had to go and learn. And I hate hearing people say, I'm not a tech guy, or I'm not a runner, or I'm not this, or I'm not that. You're automatically putting yourself in a box and telling yourself and believing it that you can't do something. Of course you could be a tech guy, you could be a runner if you just go and train and practice. Anyone could do anything if they just go and give it the time and the effort that it deserves. You can do anything. Whenever someone's like, oh yeah, no, I couldn't do that, or I can't do this, I'm not that. I'm like, how can you talk to yourself so poorly? You are so adaptable as a human being, so adaptable. You could go and do anything if you just set some time and effort towards it. So don't limit yourself to say oh, I'm only this, or I'm only that, I can only do this, or I could never do that. It's just so sad to hear people talk so negatively of themselves.
Isn't that amazing? That the moment we shift our paradigm of our mindset on, oh, I can do this and I want to do this, and just start trying. Like for me, just starting making videos, making podcasts, and see where it ends up in 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. See what happens.
Just consistently keep doing it and see what happens. All the greatest podcasters, they just started somewhere. All the greatest anything of anything, they just started somewhere and continued doing it. And they got through that first early stage of learning and fumbling and feeling like an idiot. And they learned that they'll always be learning. You'll always have that white belt mentality of trying to learn. But as you grow and progress, you build confidence and you build the trust in yourself that whatever there is, you can just learn it. If you don't know it now, you can just learn it. It's so simple, and so much information out there that it's hard not to just learn, every day.
Isn't that white belt mentality not the best thing?
Yeah, just forever being a student to life, just always trying to learn.
I look forward to life like that, just having it every day, like, oh, super excited about that new thing.
Yeah.
And it's a choice, right? Like I can feel shitty about learning something new, but I also can just be excited about it.
Yeah, 100%. I'm always excited to let people know that I don't know what I'm talking about. And like, if they know, like, can you help me? I'm always excited to be like, hey, I don't know this, please help me. It's like so powerful just to be able to be like, I have no idea what I'm talking about. Like, can you teach me? Because firstly, they'll be like, oh yeah, like I get to teach someone something new. How exciting. Like they'll just dive into it. And secondly, they'll be like, oh, he's not an egg. He can admit he doesn't know things. And you know, when you see someone and you know they don't know something and they don't ask, and it's a sad thing when someone's scared to ask for help or scared to admit they don't know something, because like how often are they actually doing that? Like how much times in their life where they needed help or when they don't know something where they just didn't speak up about it, which is, yeah, sad.
I'm in the process of learning that more. I love to just string together the things that I know and then find a logical way to explain, like, oh, I probably understand why this is this way.
Yeah.
But I love to be able to more oftenly just say like, I really don't know this much about it. Please tell me as much as you know about it, and just like get excited, like, because for both, it's interesting.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a good thing you've mentioned there, like taking what you know and trying to string it together is a huge thing. Like, you kind of got to go through this troubleshooting process. If I don't know something, before I go and bother someone else, I'm going to do what I can to learn it, whether it's like on the internet or whether it's on like thinking about all the things I do know, trying to string it together and figure it out and troubleshoot. So if I can't answer the question myself, if I can't, find out online or in my immediate area, then go and ask someone else. If you are trying to solve a problem, it's always a good challenge to try and figure it out yourself first, because you'll learn well. But then if you're having troubles, go and ask someone. Sometimes it's better to ask someone first, and you speed up the process and you learn little tips and tricks earlier, but also learning by mistakes is always great.
It's the quickest way to learn, to just fall, get back up, and realize that you fall. How did I fall? Okay, maybe not fall next time. Maybe fall somewhere else and like, learn something new.
That's like reminds me of BJJ. Like if you get choked a certain way, if you let them choke you that same way again, you obviously haven't learned. Like you learn through pain. And I remember rolling with this fellow once, and I think it was an Ezekiel. What's the one where they get like the two collars like that and they choke like
from the front or from the back?
From the front.
With just two collar, like across.
Oh, he had like one hand behind me and one hand in front, and then like squeezing. Like
I'm not fully sure.
I think it was that. He got me with it, and I was like, shit, that was so effective. And then we rolled again. He got me with it again, and I was like, damn, I just walked into that. Third time around, he got me again. He's like, bro, why do you keep letting me do this? I'm like, I can't figure out what you're doing. I keep falling for the same thing. So he kind of broke it down to me. He's like, make sure you don't do this, make sure you don't do that, or like, watch out for this. I had learned 3 times, like I just got choked out 3 times so quickly. And I was like, okay, I'm never going to let anyone do that to me again. Now I know how they do it. I'm going to do whatever I can to avoid getting choked out with that move again.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Like just asking, hey, what was that you just got me in? How can I defend next time?
Yeah.
Like those 2 questions I found are the best questions to learn anything.
Yeah.
And you can change a little bit for everything.
100%.
But isn't that great?
What just happened? How can I avoid that again? Or how can I get that outcome again,
Or how can I do it?
Exactly. Yeah. How can I do that to someone else?
I think the baseball choke is there as well. It's like from the side where you have the back and the front and you twist it in
together.
Exactly. And it's sort of so effective. Yeah, I got in there.
Gnarly. Yeah.
It is.
Oof.
I really wanted to come back when I saw you in the rec center. You said you're now focusing like all your attention on a few things, and you focus now on running, and you like to go fully into it and then just surround yourself with it. When the next thing comes, let's say jiu-jitsu again, then you want to just focus fully in that.
Yeah.
But you want to have your focus on it and just enjoy the whole process of it. Or if it's jiu-jitsu or if it's weight training. Can you tell me a bit about the mindset you have there and why you find it so important to have the fun but also have that dedication on that focus?
Yeah, well, kind of this year I really realized how much energy I expend in areas that aren't really a main priority. I can get so sidetracked from different things, try and bounce to different things all the time. By doing that, never really accomplish anything that great. I really dialed in this year. I have brotherhood, I have my relationships, so my partner, my close friends, and my family, obviously. Then I have my training, And with training for a while, like the last like kind of year, I was trying to do a lot of things at once. I was trying to stay like as strong as I could, try and stay relatively like keep as much muscle as I could whilst running. By doing that, I wasn't doing any of them that good. Now I am focusing just on, for now it's just running training. I'm trying to do everything I can to get better at running whilst like maintaining a base, like, you know, keeping what I've got to a degree. But even like if I lose a bit of muscle mass while training for running, I'm okay with that because I know how easy it is to get it back again. Focusing on just running, anything that contradicts my training there, I'll avoid, I'll say no to. Anything that, you know, goes against the plan, it's so easy for me just to say no to. Anything that goes against me taking care of my relationships with my partner, my friends and family, I can just say no to. And anything that goes against me progressing with business, I'll just say no to, because right now, I think I'm in a period of my life where I really need to focus, because we are on the cusp of just extraordinary things. The more I give my attention to areas that don't really progress those things, the less progression I can get, and the more upset with myself I'll be afterwards, because I know if I go do a certain thing that hasn't really brought value to those areas, I know afterwards I'm like, well, I shouldn't have done that. And that's not a forever thing. Eventually, the business will be at a place where I can have a bit more time to do other things. I'll have more hobbies. Eventually, the run training will stop and I'll start something else. We've mentioned jiu-jitsu a lot, and that's where it's going to be. But if you try and do a million things at once, you're going to burn yourself out quick. If you just focus all your attention and energy on just a few critical things that are going to move the needle, you can watch the progression there happen so much. And I see that with you, where you focus so much on jiu-jitsu, where you just put so much time and effort into one thing. The progression has been exponential compared to someone who's trying to do jiu-jitsu and running and lifting weights and partying on the weekend. Their progression will be nowhere near as much as yours. You know, just focusing on a few things and really executing on them.
I really, really like that, especially because I tried from January to implement more weight training, but because my enthusiasm for jiu-jitsu is still so high, I just felt I wasn't there fully. I wasn't, because for me, as being 6'6", to make some type of results, I have to eat like quite a decent amount. To combine that with all the cardio I do on a daily basis, that gets even higher. So if I want to build muscle, if that's the main objective of working out and building muscle, it just didn't feel like I was focused enough. I was spread too thin.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing I'd look at too, because openly I'm thinking, oh, after this next race, I'm coming back to jits and I'll be there with you. Then my training will start to look like how someone who wants to improve jiu-jitsu will look. My weightlifting and my strength training outside of jiu-jitsu will be to benefit jiu-jitsu. Not every single exercise I do will have a direct correlation to jiu-jitsu, but it all kind of will in a way. It'll all be synergistic. I'll strengthen areas that are really important for jits. I will maintain a good base of other areas, so I'm still like a functioning human. I can still run, I can still jump, I can still climb. But even then, all that will still have a benefit to jiu-jitsu. I won't be focusing on trying to be the best bodybuilder and then doing jiu-jitsu as well. I'll be doing jiu-jitsu and focus in the gym and how this can improve my jiu-jitsu.
Having functional movement, right? Using functional strength to use for something else you find super exciting.
I think every aspect of the gym is somewhat functional. Like even if you're just doing bicep curls, that's functional because you don't have to pull someone in. If you're getting like really good abs, it's functional because you need to have a strong core. If you're building a strong chest, it's functional. Everything's functional, but certain things play more of a role in certain areas. If I'm doing something that's more specific to jiu-jitsu, if I want to do more jiu-jitsu, I have to be specific to that. I think specificity is a huge thing for a lot of people. When they're training, they aren't training specific enough, or they don't have a specific target or goal. And that's where I see a lot of people fall off, not really find themselves improving or progressing because they're going in there and they're being random. They have no intention. If you have an intention of going into the gym, getting stronger in X, Y, Z, or hitting this benchmark, and then taking that intention and allowing that to dictate what kind of training you do, you will find yourself enjoying it more and actually hitting goals. But if you just go there with the intention of getting in shape, but with no plan or no intention to like train for that, you're just spinning your wheels.
You have nothing to compare it with.
Yeah. You're just randomly dancing. You need targets, yeah, for sure.
Targets are So important. The first time was in 2022 when I realized that the thing that I want to do, someone else has done most likely in
Yep.
one way or another before.
Yep.
I know that he wasn't born like that from the
Yeah.
start.
Yep.
He has gone through hardship. He
Yep.
has gone through this whole journey to become this certain way.
Yep.
If I figure out what he has done, what are the things that he had learned from, then just look at what have I done? What can I do? See if I can put myself in scenarios that are similar to that.
Yeah.
Then would it be weird to think that I can get the same results?
It's just so normal, so realistic.
Cause and effect, right?
Yep.
That just blew my mind. And then to come back on what we just said.
When you train a certain way to get a certain result.
Oh yeah, so by putting myself in the things to become that certain way,
Yep.
I know I will become the thing that I want to have. So it's the intention, it's the goal where I want to go towards.
Yep.
And it's first becoming that person and then getting the things that that person is able to do.
Yep. Any goal you have, like big chances someone's done it before. You can just go mirror that. You can just go look at what they've done. You can read their work. You can read books about it, and you have a game plan. I think inherently, like everyone kind of knows what they need to do. The thing is just doing it. If you want to become a black belt, you just need to do a lot of jiu-jitsu and learn. If you want to become an ultramarathon, you just need to go and get a running plan and start running. If you want to do anything, you just need to look at those who have done it before and do that. It's so simple.
And it doesn't even have to take long. From the moment where we are now, with the information we have, we definitely know almost certainly how to do anything.
Yeah.
Like if you want to be an ultra runner, just start running. If you want to get in shape, start training. And then later we can go deeper into it, but the basics are all the same.
I did a lot of study when it came to coaching, physical training, coaching, strength and conditioning, and such. I did most of my study was just online before I even went and tried to get any certificates or anything like that. And when I did go to get certificates of personal training and stuff, the instructor was like, "Oh, where have you learned all this from?" I was curious. I wanted to know about it. I did years and years of research, trial and error, on myself. I'd go to the gym, I'd try things, I'd go out training, I'd go try stuff. I'd watch videos, I'd implement it, I'd see what feels good, see what works well, I'd disregard what doesn't, I'd keep what does, and realize that you can become a master at anything you want because we literally have access to all the information in the world on our phones. And we now have ChatGPT, where I wrote into ChatGPT, I've got a race in 12 weeks. This is my level where I'm at. This is the details of the race. Give me a program. Spat me out a program. It wasn't bad. I tweaked it. And I would recommend going to get an actual coach. But if you need to, we have AI that can literally write you a training program instantly. Just go start doing it. If it's kind of shit, learn that and tweak it and change it yourself. But it's so simple.
Isn't it great? Even if that part of not having a coach, if that is withholding you from doing something, use ChatGPT. Bam, done.
We have access to all the information in the world.
And I've done the same for my first marathon. I made a 13-week training program. I changed a little bit and then just ran through it. My first run was here in Australia and it was a 5-kilometer run. And now the longest run I've done is 107.
Nice, bro.
Isn't that? It's mind blowing, right?
Crazy. Yeah.
From there to there.
Yeah.
And then last year I've done 6 marathons. It's
epic.
It's just mind blowing.
Epic.
When I write questions down and I prepare and I do some of my research and I look a little bit more into someone, then I don't need the notes anymore because while doing the conversation, I know that the things that I want to ask and what I'm curious about, I will definitely ask. I don't even have to look back. I've asked everything and better and even more.
Nice.
This conversation has been very, very good.
Epic.
And I've learned a lot from your mindset and you've had such a big impact on my life. You have made me think so differently. I feel so much able to do bigger things now, especially after doing that 100K run.
Epic.
It's the most wonderful thing. I think now after doing 100K, there's no cap.
You could just do anything. As long as you give it the time and effort, you could do anything. 100%.
And that feels so empowering.
It is empowering knowing that you have the capacity to. Humans have done such great things and we're all pretty similar. We're all skin and bones and flesh. So none of us are born into greatness. You know, that everyone who has done something amazing has done a lot of hard work to get there. If you want that, you can go and do that. That is the freedom. Like, we have free will. As much as there's a system that's we think maybe is trying to make us weaker, or there's things that are going to stop us in certain ways. If you want something bad enough, you can do it. You can just go out and persevere and get it done. I just want to mention, I'm wearing the shoes that you ran your 100K in.
I did.
I ran one of my races in these and lent them to you like the 2 days before your race or something.
So like, I had no stuff. I had no gear. I had nothing.
You had nothing, and I was like, oh my God, you're going to do this race and you have nothing. So I just gave you all my stuff to use, and that just, like, that cracked me up. That cracked up Lara as well. She's like, what? He doesn't even have any of the stuff? Does he know what he's doing? And I'm like, we'll see.
I didn't know what I was doing. And
it's all right. It's a good time.
And even the people at the race itself, we afterwards, because my girlfriend was there as our support team, she heard like so many people talk about the two guys that didn't know shit, and that everyone thought that they weren't going to finish because they didn't know, they didn't have stuff, they didn't have never done this before, they have never trained with the shoes they have now, they've never eaten the same things. And they were talking about me and my friends.
Yep. That's so good.
Correct.
That's such a good feeling too. Like when you hear that people were saying it and then you do finish, such a good feeling.
It's the best.
I had that on UTA. It was with another Nurken in the Kirken. I had another Dutch guy. And we were running, and I said that to him. He cracked up. I told him you told me that, and we were running for a while, and he kind of took off, and then ages down the line, like 75 k's in, I caught up to him again, and he's like, "Hey, bro, I thought you were gonna quit," and I was like, "Man, like, that's what you thought?" And I just took off, and he never saw me again. Yeah.
That's wonderful. It's about the mindset.
Yeah. It's all the mindset.
Thanks, Adam.
Thank you, brother.
This was amazing.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it muchly, and I love this location.
I really love that we did a run together first, and then we have this beautiful just sit together and have a great conversation.
Have a good chat, and just now we have to run back.
Yeah, easy does it.
Easy as.
So thanks, guys. If you enjoy interviews like this, then hit the follow button, join the Sandman community, and I upload every week, so there's something to look forward to. If you have any questions for Adam Green, pop them in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Good after a run like that. It's a nice run.
That was a fun run. That was an interesting run. That was a big velocity.
I got this for you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We can just enjoy that before we start talking. And
cheers.
Cheers. And also, this was really something I looked forward to.
Yeah.
How far did we run? Did you see?
I think so far we're at. Oh, I'm gonna pause that. Thank you. It's still going. Shoot. Whoops. We're 10 kilometers in.
10 kilometers still on.
We've done 10 kilometers so far. I think to get home is another 4. Easy.
Very nice.
So I might go for a run later today.
I found the best way to POA is this pattern.
That's a great way to do it.
And it turned out to have this shape, but that was never the intention. Oh, that's for the people that love listening to people eat.
ASMR.
These are some.
Oh, not bad.
Yeah.
Mine's a bit crooked, but it's okay. That's life, you know.
You get what you get. It's a very sweet one. Isn't that the best after just having done like a marathon or anything physical, and then having this reward of the sugary fruits and just.
That's so good.
That's always the first thing I look for at at the finish, the station where they
have the oranges. Yeah. I think oranges are up there with my favorite fruit. Like orange juice, hands down, is like crack to me. I could drink that forever.
It has that sweetness that just can't even explain how good it is.
Oh,
it's hitting the spot, huh?
Nice, thank you.
Of course. I thought it was a nice way to just enjoy fruit together
Yeah.
after